My sister is secretly trying to destroy my family. I met my first husband when we were both 16. We got married at 19 after discovering I was pregnant. And I had our son Adam when I was 20 years old. However, just 2 months later, he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer and passed away 6 months after that. It was the most traumatic experience of my life. One moment, we were a happy new family, and the next, he was taken from us. I need to mention that my husband came from a well-off family, and was the only son of his parents, who had tragically passed away in a car crash a couple of years before we met. He wanted to change his will but lacked the strength to do so at that time, and was worried about Adam. I didn't want him to be concerned about those matters. So I promised him that I would leave the money to Adam in a trust that he could access when he turns 18, which I followed through on. The next 2 years were challenging for me. I struggled with alcoholism while my parents took care of Adam. Eventually I got pregnant from one of my many one-night stands, and had my second son Ben, who is now 26. Ben saved my life. I gave up drinking for him, and have now been sober for 26 years. I also found a job as a bus driver. It wasn't easy, but it was the best time of my life. My sons were best friends, we were a close-knit family, and I was truly happy. However, everything changed when Adam turned 18. He gained access to the trust, which made our financial situation much more manageable. Without me even saying anything, he informed Ben that he would cover the cost of his college tuition. I sat Ben down to explain that Adam's late father had left him money, and I would gladly offer him the same support if I could. He said he understood, and that he wouldn't need it, then asked if he could go to his room, which frustrated me. He is closed off and proud. In that regard, he resembles my husband more than Adam ever did. A couple of years later, he got accepted into medical school, and his brother offered to help him again, but he declined the offer. I thought that perhaps if I took out a loan to assist him, he might appreciate it. But he insisted he didn't need it. He had applied for some student aid, and planned to borrow the rest. No matter what his brother or I said, he wouldn't change his mind. So he left that year. And I haven't seen my son since. He chose a college on the other side of the country, and there was never a real argument about it. As time went on, he started to respond to my messages less frequently, offering excuses for why he couldn't come home during the holidays. Eventually he stopped responding altogether, and changed his phone number. I tried to locate him on social media, but I don't think he has any accounts, and I haven't been able to get in touch with him. This year, I ran into an old friend of his. We chatted for a bit, and I learned that they were still in touch. I asked for his phone number, but the friend refused to share it with me. To be honest, I ended up begging a little. Eventually he offered to give me his email address, but only if I promised never to reveal who provided it. I sent him an email expressing how much I missed him, how eager I was to see him, and how often he was on my mind. Part of me dreamed about him returning and being my son again. For months I received no response, until a couple of weeks ago. He finally emailed me back, asking me to stop contacting him. He said he was tired of me pretending to love him. He mentioned that his aunt had told him I was the one who left Adam all that money. He had grown up happy and never minded using Adam's clothes and toys, because he believed that was all they had. But now, he understood that I only cared about Adam. I won't go into detail about what he called me in that email, but I never expected him to feel such hatred toward me. That night, I came very close to having a drink again. It was only thanks to my fantastic sponsor that I didn't relapse. The next day, I called my sister and asked her how she could do this to me, and why she was trying to destroy my family. We had a big argument, and she's been trying to contact me for the past week, but I refused to talk to her. Yesterday, her husband messaged me, telling me to stop blaming his wife for my mistakes. He said I needed to take responsibility for my choice to give everything to my firstborn. He mentioned that if my belief that I did the right thing helped me sleep at night, that was fine. But it wasn't their fault that I had neglected one of my children. I responded to him with a message telling him to go screw himself. I heard from my mother that he left the house after my sister discovered what he had done, and my sister was understandably angry with him. However, I don't care about that. She told my child only half the story, which made him believe that I didn't care about him. I'm not sure I can forgive her for that. She is my best friend, but I wonder if her husband is right. Maybe I did wrong by Ben when I gave his brother his inheritance.